Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly Profiler here, and welcome. Hope you're all well out there. Today, we're going to be talking about our webinar coming up. We're pretty excited about it. But before I get into our webinar, I want to talk about our free channel we have out there. It's called Thrive. Thrive is for people suffering from addictive illness, chemical addictions, and it's available and it's free. And it'd be very helpful for anybody suffering from addictive illness or any family member who has a loved one suffering from addictive illness and wants to learn more about it. So we have a link to that in the description. We also have a link in the description to my book, Discovering Lazarus. A lot of you have always asked, John, how did you become a profiler? John, how did you become a psychotherapist? John, how did you end up in this field? How did you put stock together, this profiling team? Well, all the answers are in my book, and we'll put a link in the description to that as well. You know, you got to understand this is the good, the bad, and the ugly of John Kelly for the last 39 years. Names have been changed to protect the innocent and the guilty, but there's a lot of real names in there of various people that you will probably know right off the hop as soon as you see it. The other thing I want to talk about is, the webinar, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and it's going to be very, very interesting. We're going to be comparing and contrasting Ted Bundy to the Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway. Okay, we're going to have a lot of fun kind of deciphering their psychology and really getting in there and doing a deep dive into what made these guys think, okay? What made them operate the way they did. It's going to be an interactive webinar. And what I mean by interactive, in the beginning, it's going to be a few of us just going over the case and asking different questions and doing a deeper dive into the psychology, okay? But after that, then we're going to have an hour of questions and answers. There'll be breaks in between. We think the whole webinar will last about 3.5 hours, maybe a little bit longer. The last hour is definitely going to depend on you guys, on how many questions and answers you want to hear. And we're not going to limit you, okay? If you're good enough to come to our webinar, we're going to be good enough to make sure we answer all your questions and you're satisfied when you leave, okay? Something else that's very interesting to us is focusing on the backstory. See, whenever you see anything on TV about Bundy or Ridgway or whatever, there's only a certain amount of time, that it can be put on for, because then you have different commercials coming in, this and that and everything else. Again, this is pretty much the backstory, and it's about being involved in the investigation, like my friend and partner, Frank Adamson, Commander-in-Chief of the Green River Task Force. He's the longest running commander of the Green River Task Force, and intimately was involved and knows all the details. I mean, can you imagine getting calls in the middle of the night? He's sleeping next to his wife. We've got a couple bodies over here. We found a body over there. We found a cluster of bones down here. I mean, can you imagine getting calls in the middle of the night like that? Pretty crazy. And the mystery of this all is going to be involved in the questions, okay? The questions hold the mystery. They have the power. For instance, Ted Bundy had an IQ of 135. Gary Ridgway had an IQ of 82, okay? Bundy is much smarter. However, Bundy gets caught a lot quicker. Ridgway went on over 20 years without getting caught, okay? So why did all that happen? How was that possible, okay? How did these guys have different MOs, different victimology? I mean, they focused totally on different victims. You look at Bundy, Bundy was focused on what we call girls next door. These were girls that were just going about their business, doing their everyday things, going to college, whatever, getting snatched right off the street, right off the beach, wherever. How did he do that? Then we take a look at Gary Ridgway. Totally different type of victim here. Gary Ridgway focused on sex workers. He focused on prostitutes. And he focused on luring them into his control zone, which was his vehicle, with the show of money and sweet talking. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys operated, and we're going to tear their MOs apart and dissect the whole thing. Another question is, could these cases have been solved sooner? All right, we're going to bring you in to that piece of these investigations. The other thing is, even though they had the different MOs, where did they come together? They come together on their deepest, darkest fetishes. Okay, these guys were totally alike with their fetishes. All right, and that's something that is going to be up close and personal and going to be revealed with that, which you didn't see in a lot of shows. You hear about it, but we want to make sense of why somebody would do what they did as far as, their victims went. So it's going to be very, very interesting. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we're putting a link up in the description now, or down in the description, I'm sorry. So you can take a look and you can sign up and be there for the webinar. Most importantly, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a lot of fun that day. So please join us. Thank you so much for all you do for us, for all your support, for all your feedback, for all your comments. Can't thank you enough. Most importantly, take care of yourself. Stay well out there. God bless.